Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I've actually been on a short break, 10-day break with my wife to Belgium, had a fantastic time, and when I was there I was contemplating some of the projects that I'm thinking about in the coming months. However, on my return I had something of a surprise, and that surprise is going to be the basis for a long-term commitment to something I've wanted to do for some time, and we're going to have a look at what that is now. And here we have it. As you can see, it's a Fokker DR1 triplane. It's a rather big Fokker DR1 triplane, 72-inch wingspan. Obviously it's in need of repair. It was given to me by a fellow club member, Chris, who bought a job lot of models, and he basically said this was just too much for him to contemplate doing anything with. I've had a cursory look at it, and quite surprisingly, other than the top wing, which is warped and I think will either have to be straightened out or more likely rebuilt altogether, the middle wing, the lower wing are fine, and that's encouraging. And we're going to have a closer look at the sort of wreckage that I'm looking at and how I think it's worth the effort to do something with. So let's take a closer look. Here we have another view. It's 1/4 scale, so it's a bit of a lump, it's a bit of a beast. I've always liked the triplanes. I know they can be a pig when they come to ground handling, but they look so magnificent in the air. I've always had a bit of an urge for one, and this has come along and landed in my lap for nothing. Basically, for my time and effort to decide whether it's worth restoring, rebuilding and getting into the air. It'll take some time to get there because, as I've already said, I think the upper wing will need to be replaced. I've found drawings for a 1/4 scale Fokker D1 on AutoZone. It's not the same model as this, but it's very, very similar. Obviously, it's the same scale. And I would use that to actually remake the upper wing. Let's have a closer look, however, at all the rest of it. So the cowl, aluminium cowls here, it's had a big 4-stroke engine up front. It's been a petrol engine. You can see the covering's in a real state. It'll need to be removed, but that'll be the subject of future videos on how to go about that and what we find underneath, so you can enjoy that journey. Obviously the tail surface has been damaged. All this will need to be replaced. The elevator, at least, it's gone. That's fine. There's a pull-pull system installed, and I've had a quick look at it. The servos I'd take out and dump, but the pull-pull system seems to work very well just by moving the servo arms, and I would retain that. The rudder's gone. It's basically going to be a strip down, but let's take the wing off and have a look at the fuselage itself, which is one of the reasons why I think it's well worth keeping. So the upper and the middle wing come off together. The front strut is broken, and they only appear to be made of wood. I think that might have to change. And the inter strut goes right through the top wing and the middle wing, and then is bolted onto the bottom one. A couple of bolts per strut, and there are 2 retaining bolts in the bottom wing. So in the field that would be a fairly simple model to rig. Let's move this out of the way and have a look inside. Just bear with me. So I've had a look inside. Servos, 2 servos for the elevator, 1 for each side, and I would suspect that these are either linked together or separate channels. Obviously they'd come out. I think there's a box down here, and buried somewhere in there is a 35 megahertz receiver, I think. But this is sound. The structure itself, having had a quick look at it, seems to be well made, and a telltale sign is looking at the joints. They look good. I'll not know until I take the covering off, but it looks quite well made. It's also not been a kit. I can tell that because there are no numbers stamped anywhere inside on the formers. There's no evidence of them. There'll be further confirmation of that when the covering comes off. Let's take the bottom wing off and have a look at that. Here's the bottom wing. I've checked that out and it's absolutely true, which is encouraging. So once we strip the covering off that, I'll have a better idea of what I'm dealing with. Obviously, that's fine. The tail's a bit of a wreck, or the horizontal stab and the elevator's a wrecked. This isn't. It would need some bracing on a model of this size, I think. The covering will have to come off. That looks like litho plate, which I'll take off. This is going to be a basic strip down, and I think rebuilding the top wing. The interplane struts, let's have a look at them. These run right through the wings, a bit like the Sopwith triplane model that Cliff Harvey has built recently. And I suspect they'd have to be cut out and ripped out. I hope to save the middle wing. If that's possible, that'd be great. But I'm almost certain the top wing's going to have to go. To me, it looks badly warped. But there's the project. As I said, it's going to be a long-term one, but it'll also provide the opportunity. Oops, just done a bit more damage to it there. No, I haven't. It'll provide an opportunity to explore some techniques I'm going to use and try some ideas out. I haven't got an engine for it. It's going to need something like a 30cc, I would imagine, and I don't have that. I'm looking for one, so I'll keep my eyes out and see what happens. Once I've made the commitment to restoring this, I'm going to get it flying. It's too big a model to just build and stick on a shelf or become a hanger queen. If that was the case, I'd build plastic models. I want to see them in the air. That's where they're at their best. So stick with me. I hope you enjoy the journey. I think it's going to be a really interesting project. I often find restoring models, although it can be very challenging, more rewarding than even building from scratch. So thanks for tuning in. Please give it a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't done so yet, and you'll see this build along with some vintage projects and of course the current model that I'm working on. I forgot its name there for a second. So please stick with me. You'll see the Cirrus moth being completed, and you'll see other projects on the way, and a little bit of fun on the flying field as well. Thanks for staying tuned. Bye now.